So this is a new segment that Phil and I will bring to you all. What do we say, on a monthly basis?
Yeah.
And we are happy to do this with our partner from Crockett Law. So please, Brian, first introduce yourself. You will be new on camera. You have been in our descriptions, etc., for the last few weeks. Please introduce yourself to the people.
All right. Hey, Brian Crockett, if you've been hurt at work, we're the people that can really help you with it. That's what we're known for. But ultimately, absolute fan of Poor Horseman. And
Thank you.
Love everything that Symone's been doing. So just glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, and of course, our viral sensation from episode like 276,
Somewhere off
75
Yeah.
maybe.
Somewhere.
She was on New York News, on Dallas radio, on what's my man Isaiah Factor.
Yep.
You know who they didn't call us. You know what I'm saying? They didn't call us. They was like, we don't want them at all.
DJ Academics.
Academics, yeah. But please, Symone,
World Star Hip Hop.
World Star.
That was a favorite.
World Star. They just stole our stuff. They didn't even care.
Yeah.
They didn't even care. But please introduce yourself again, please.
Hey, y'all. I'm attorney Symone Redwine here in Houston. I practice injury law, and I have particular expertise with how to use insurance to get that money. So attorney Symone Redwine on Instagram as well.
Okay. Yeah. And so what we wanted to do, this concept that we came up with, is that there is often a viral clip that happens that maybe someone needs to do what? CYA. And we're not saying cover your ass. We are saying call your attorney.
Yeah.
All right. And since we got two in the building, first off, the drip that my man has, can you zoom in on Brian real quick?
The Mary jacket.
That Mary
is hard.
jacket. Yeah, I'm saying, like, I'm a little offended right now. Like, why don't I have a Mary jacket? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in here wearing blanks. You know what I'm saying? I need to get better.
Man, we gotta stop shopping at Walmart.
No, it's HEB sundry session. I buy all my clothes in the front of HEB. That's where I buy all my clothes. That's
good
where
way
they
to
fit
save
in.
money.
I know you buy your clothes at the grocery store.
Good way to save money. He's a money saving guy,
you know what I'm saying?
man.
So,
You do work in finance.
yes, I ain't frugal, but all right. So today we want to throw y'all a few curveballs
All right.
to see what y'all would think. Now the video will play of this in the video also. So let me just prep y'all for the situation.
The robot reportedly attacked and just really acted out on a violent streak after the engineer disabled other robots and inadvertently left it on. Reports say the robot pinned the engineer and sank its metal claws into its back and arm, causing serious injuries, leaving a trail of blood on the floor.
In Austin, there is a Tesla factory. At this Tesla factory, there was a robot. Now, I've wanted to get a robot maybe for pleasure. This one, I'm just being honest. They
Like
got
a
these,
sex toy?
yeah, they got these robots out here that got some body. I don't know where they found them at, but you know what I'm saying? I've considered one until now. So this Tesla robot, there was an engineer that they were working together on. It tore the engineer's body all up, scratched him up, scratched his face, scratched his chest, where he had to go get like a procedure to heal himself. Would that person have a case since they were hurt at work? Brian, we'll start with you.
So not only do they have a case, the real question though is what type of case. So is it going to be a workers' comp case or is it going to be a non-subscriber? Basically, they don't subscribe to workers' comp. The biggest thing to remember in Texas is the bigger you are, the more likely you don't have workers' comp because you could change the rules so that you don't have to really pay for your employees' treatment. So that's the first question. The way you can find that, I sent you a link to the verification, but you can look up your employer on that. You look at the date of the injury, and it'll tell you if they have workers' comp or not. If they're not listed there, then they don't have workers' comp, and that's an even better case.
Okay, Symone, so what do you think about someone getting their arm almost torn off by a robot?
Absolutely. And first I'd say just call Brian. If you don't know if you don't know if you're a subscriber or not, because sometimes big words, they really get upset. And if you're injured and your arm just fell off, just call Brian. Okay, just call Brian. But absolutely. And so those are some of the best ones, right? Because usually you might be the first, but you won't be the last. Unless somebody files a suit. Because the thing about corporations, they never have an incentive to make a change until it hurts them in their pocketbook. So that's what we're here for. Because sometimes the only way to get that justice is financially.
Okay, so what kind of money
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
When the sex robot attacks
yeah.
you. Wait, it's really not a sex robot, but that's my fantasy.
Yeah.
So when the robot attacks you, what kind of money could we be looking at?
We're talking Tesla, right?
Tesla.
Okay.
Ooh.
What could we be looking at?
So really, you've got this comparison about what do most people do. Most attorneys will look at it and say, what are the medical bills? And then they try to extrapolate what the number is. But the way we actually look at it is, what is the things that we hold in priceless in life, right? So your ability to work without pain or to provide for your family or that security, those things are priceless. And so when we look at the value of it, if you don't have that anymore, it's permanently taken away, you can have a multi-million-dollar case.
Even though you might have been an hourly worker, making just $15 or $20 an hour, you can still potentially have $1 million case. And then the other thing we think about too is, what were the signs beforehand that this robot thingy was malfunctioning?
He was horny.
So
the robot was mad horny.
He was sexually frustrated. And then what was the indication that this man was sexually frustrated? Was he touching girls on their titties and stuff at the workhouse? What was he doing? What kind of nasty were we dealing with?
Right.
So I always think about, in law school, I remember hearing about everybody knows about the multi-million-dollar McDonald's case, where the old lady had the coffee cup spilled and got $1 million.
Okay.
And a lot of companies cite that to say just how ridiculous America has become. But what they don't tell you is that McDonald's had other people burned over 1,000 times before this woman. And what they calculated is that it was cheaper for them to just give people a little bit for their burn than to fix the machine. So the reason they tapped that behind with that $1 million verdict was because the jury heard them determine that human lives weren't worth it. It was cheaper to keep doing what they were doing. And the jury knew that by giving them that $1 million verdict, that was going to be the only thing to make them change the machines. And they did.
I just want to add one point to that, and it's providing the actual evidence, the past incidents, having that information. So corporations now are extremely smart on protecting themselves. And so the number one thing that has to happen when you have an injury is you have to send them a letter of preserving evidence. And so we do have that available. If you reach out to us, we can send it to you, but if you want to send it yourself. But ultimately, if you don't tell them to preserve that evidence, they can delete it. They can erase it.
Ooh, yeah.
And so when you look at these older cases like McDonald's, back then they actually kept things. The new policy is really we try to delete anything that's a liability.
Wow.
And so if you have something like Walmart and somebody gets hurt, we've represented a lot of injured Walmart workers. And what we know is when they get hurt, they immediately have their friends who work in the loss prevention save the video, because they know if nobody says anything or they don't get it themselves, Walmart's going to say, delete the video.
But are they allowed to do that? To me, that seems unethical.
Not if there's no legal duty to do it. There's no preservation of evidence, letters sent. So they say, hey, you're obligated to save it. If you don't send it, they don't save it.
They usually have a policy that says, our tape tapes over itself after 20 days or whatever. And that's their loophole.
I was about to ask y'all, can't y'all use that as evidence in the courtroom? Because obviously if they delete something, then that time frame is missing from the day or whatever the case may be, right?
But they use the exact example that Symone did. It's
okay.
This thing just overwrote.
Man, that's crazy.
It's just how that happens.
That doesn't even seem legal to me.
Yeah, there is something called spoliation. Spoliation means if you intentionally get rid of evidence. So I used to sue hip implant companies. They used to make these defective hip implants, and literally, my firm alone, we had 200 of those clients. Well, some miraculous way, they just lost all the defective devices that they still had in their factory. Whoa. They only had 4 left. 4. So I wrote this motion where I was like, no, they should not be able to use whatever devices are left to say, no, our devices are safe. Because if they were safe, they would have saved them. The only reason they got rid of them is because they weren't. And they didn't want us to be able to show that. And it was the judge ruled in my favor.
Stay right there, Symone. Defective hips. I mean, where did you get?
Yeah, how did you get involved in that? That's a wild thing.
Okay, so the firm that I was at, they did asbestos work, right? Asbestos is dying as sewers, everybody that came in contact with it. So, and
I had asbestos in my college dorm. I might need to go
Sarcophagus.
call someone.
Yeah, sarcophagus.
Yeah,
Call me in 20 years.
Nah,
Because it takes like 40 years for it to
real.
make an impact. But so because the asbestos practice is dying, they moved into medical devices.
Okay.
So when the FDA would recall a device, that's how I got those cases because those got recalled. And then what happened is people then had to get revision surgeries. And it was like thousands of people across America. It was really painful. So a lot of my experience is in FDA recalled products, drugs, and stuff like that.
Got you.
So you're saying regardless of how much that engineer made at Tesla, if they determine to go down the route of suing, this could be a multi-million-dollar case.
Correct. I don't want workers who are like warehouse workers who, are maybe making a
Slip
real
and
working
fall,
wage to
dude.
think all you can get is your annual salary. No, baby, that's not your limitation. There are so many other factors in there. We've got loss of use. We've got duties under duress. Loss of use is like the fact that, you might have mowed the lawn for your family. Now you got to pay somebody else to do your lawn because your back is too painful and things like that. So ooh, baby, I love to run it up.
Yeah, I am gonna start coughing on these episodes because of that asbestos.
Man, this is crazy.
I got emphysema.
Wow.
Is that what I did? Is that what I need?
That's what you got.
Okay, all right. Our next one. So our next one, I sent y'all this video because it was important for you all to see. There's an employee who worked at an airport. At the airport, she worked at a restaurant where she was being let go for whatever reason. They didn't give the reason why, but in that, it was adversarial for her to go get her stuff that she had in the back locker.
Okay.
There was a fight that ensued amongst her and the management team. She was thrown a few times on the ground, but she also initiated the contact with the manager. Does she have a case?
All right, I want to clarify the backstory to that hurt. So, because I kept hearing her say, just give me my stuff. So my first question is, why y'all won't just give the girl her stuff? So then I looked into it a little bit further. And the backstory is that she previously had been in a fight with one of the staff members. And that staff member was back there where her stuff was. So the reason they weren't allowing her back there is they were protecting and defending that other staff member. And then they felt that she wasn't really going to go get her stuff. She was going to go continue to fight that person. Yeah. So that made a little more sense to me because usually if it don't make sense, it's usually because somebody is lying or you don't have all the facts, right? And so with that understanding, employment lawyer, what do you think? Does she have a case?
So you got the depends question.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if we're just based on the facts that we have in the video, and we don't know if she's really going to do, another attack on this person. We just know you've deprived her of potentially her cell phone, her wallet, her ability to get home if her keys are in it.
Right.
And so one thing we do know is if you have somebody missing all those things and we see that she's getting emotional about it and nobody's not only even offering to go get her stuff.
Right.
They're seeing it and they're just amping it up. And so there's a cause of action for what you call as the intentional infliction of emotional distress. And what that is really, I know this is going to cause you to be emotional to an extreme piece that's going to affect you. And then I'm going to continue to do that to your detriment.
Dang.
Right. And so in that situation, we do see that she is losing it.
Yeah.
And they're hyping it up to the point where they're even throwing her on the ground.
Right.
Now, from that point, she's got a case for the intentional infliction. The challenge, and this is the same thing that Symone knows every time somebody comes to us with a case, is where's the money coming from? And if we're stuck with the money just from the manager who's potentially not doing something in furtherance of his employment, so we can't sue the employer, if we're going just for his money, we're not even going to get any money.
Right.
Makes sense. Yeah. So you want to be able to sue the corporation.
Right. And so that part of the case, though, is simply the excessive use of force. And we're looking at the idea that is he authorized? So we try to set up the case to show acts that he's authorized to try to prevent somebody from doing whatever. And now he's using this force that he's not qualified, hasn't been trained.
Yeah, because that throw on the ground was crazy. Like, I mean, he threw her like a child.
Doll. Yeah.
Right.
I haven't seen someone get thrown like that, not in a workplace.
So let me get this right. So due to him inflicting pain on her, if we're suing, we would have to sue that individual and not the corporation.
So you would sue, as Symone knows, you sue everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody.
Okay.
But the thing that happens, though, is because I used to work for the insurance companies when I first started out, so you know how that they defend the case. And so the number one thing that they're going to do is they're going to say, hey, the only one with insurance is the company.
Yeah.
And so how do I get out of that case? I'm going to say, this guy's acting on his own. We've never authorized him to use any type of force. We've never said he could do these things. So in fact, he's doing something he didn't have a right to do under our name. And that's where they jump out of the case, and we're left with the guy who has no money and no assets.
Yeah, that's why he was mad. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would throw someone too. If I
I
was
don't get paid
yeah.
enough money to deal with this.
I do not. Like, so I'm throwing you. Like, I don't want to do that, but right now you are jeopardizing my safety. So does he have a case then?
No, he doesn't got a case for that work piece on it. Now, the guy that got hit, right?
The first guy, yeah.
Same exact thing. All right, let's pretend it's either work comp. If it's work comp, he's got a case. He can make his claim. He can get whatever damages relate to that. If they don't have workers' comp, he's got a non-subscriber case. The key takeaway here is this. One, if this incident's happening, what training did they provide to any of the people? What policies, what procedures does that company have?
Anything. Yeah.
And were those followed? And what we see time and time again in every case, they don't have the company policies. They've never even trained anyone on it. It's just people just doing whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Or if they do have it, they've never read it and nobody's ever checked it or trained them on it.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things for us. I mean, it's the huge benefit if they do have it, because we clearly know they didn't follow it. And if they don't have it, well, you've just now basically put everyone in danger, knowing that, hey, this in this day and age, we know that employees are going to have violent acts happening at work. So what are you doing to help people stay protected?
Yep.
Yeah. So what's the most common case that walks in y'all door? What's the most common?
So mine, just injured workers. If you're out there, like most common for us is just an employee who's walking out. It could be a construction site, could be somebody walking in a warehouse, and they either slip and fall. They are not provided the appropriate equipment. There's apologies.
No, you good. You good. Hey, this is first time on set, y'all. You know what I'm saying?
This is a phone call from injured worker.
From an injured worker.
That's what heard at work.
Awesome.
But Texas, you have guaranteed rights as an employee, that you're provided training to do your job safely, that your employer is supervising your work, that they're providing adequate policies and procedures so you don't get hurt, that you have competent co-employees. And that really just means somebody who doesn't come in and hurt you because they don't know what they're doing. And then the last one, and this is almost every case that we've ever, come through the door, there's a fact that they have not provided the safety equipment necessary to protect your employee. And so whenever we've had cases, there's always an element of failing to provide the safety equipment. And we're not just talking about like safety glasses. We're talking about things where lifting injuries happens all the time, but we know how to prevent them by providing these other material handling equipment. So like pallet jacks and other things, but instead it's cheaper just to say, let's use your body. Let's do manual labor. They blow their back out. And then ultimately they say, hey, if you can't come back to work without a profile, then we can't invite you back. So what do the employees do? They go get a waiver. And then as soon as that says, hey, I can return to work, the doctor's note says I can, then they really can't keep up with the work anymore. Then they terminate them. And then when they come to us, there's a note from their employer saying, hey, look, you told us you were good to go. And that's what happens all the time.
What about you?
So mine is primarily car accidents. So all kind of different car accidents, serious injuries, or even death. Like a really serious car accident, or it could be also medical devices that malfunction and injure people. So that's primarily what I get. And I get calls for all kinds of other things under the sun, from defamation to child support to family law to all those. So I enjoy those calls, and I try to help steer people.
Did you get any calls from the last time you were on the show?
A ton.
I thought so.
A ton. A lot of employment calls, actually. So I'm still going through all of those.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to you about some of those. Quite a few of those. And it's a lot. One of the things I've gotten really good at is like being able to like weed out the crazy callers. And so that is one of my
What does a crazy
Yeah, I
caller
was
look
about
like?
to
Yeah,
ask
what
you
does
about
that
that.
look
Yeah.
like?
It's usually someone they tell me all about. They're like, so my favorites are, this case is a slam dunk. So I've been handling it on my own for the last 2 years, and I just need you to step in real quick. So I know that usually attorneys will get a third, but I was wondering if you'd only take like 25% because I've been handling it. Get off my phone.
Right.
Get off my phone. That's how you know this person is problematic and probably crazy. And then the other one is usually somebody who already has a lawyer and is called to tell me they just fired their lawyer and they want to hire me. And I'm like, well, well, first, I'm always surprised when people fire a lawyer and don't have another one lined up.
Okay.
Because that's
That's wild.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, that is.
in the middle of a case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then usually, the ones that are problematic are usually the ones where if I ask them, no, tell me, is this your first lawsuit? It's always no. They've usually sued a number of people throughout their lifetime for a variety. One person has sued seven other people before that particular lawsuit, and those are the ones where I really tell them to have a nice day, because you can never make that person happy.
Yeah.
So the people that come in with like the neck braces and stuff of like, do y'all get that?
No,
No?
I mean, that's very, very rare. I actually had a client just have to do one of those surgeries. Oh, he was injured in a lift. And I cannot wait to beat the brakes off of lift because the adjuster wanted to argue with me. They actually offered him, they said they would give him like $1,000 and they would pay his medical bills. At the time, the medical bills were $14,000. And he makes very little money, and he was like, all right, fine. He didn't realize though, but then they started dragging their feet with paying him. Luckily, he's someone that a friend of a friend knew, and he gave me a call because at this point he was just aggravated it was taking so long. I have gotten receipt for this man. He did not have health insurance. Over $400,000 worth of medical treatment. He ended up having to get a neck surgery where he had to wear this device that he can't turn his head. He had to do one of these.
Wait, like the like the cone?
Yes. Not like a dog. Not the dog cone.
With the bolts in the neck?
Yes.
Halo.
He had that procedure.
Man, he needs more than
He
400K.
had that procedure. Oh, no.
That's just the medical.
No, I'm saying that's just his medical. And these people could have been out of this with $1,000. They just had to give him $1,000. Because the other thing that people don't realize these insurance companies do, so they come to you and they're like, hey, we're going to take care of your medical bills and give you this. Baby, let me tell you something. They don't take care of your medical bills. What they do is this. Insurance companies negotiate rates with hospitals. So your bill might be $14,000. They then go to that hospital and say, oh, we've negotiated rates with you. We're only going to pay you $3,000. Well, guess what? That difference, if you went to a lawyer, you would get it.
Dang.
But when they save it and you don't get jack nothing in your pocket.
Wow.
That's how trifling they are. And then the other thing people don't realize, you don't even know how injured you are at that point because they try to give you that money within that first 30 days.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Real fast and quick. And if they would have done that with him, this gentleman would have been fine. He is changed for life. Oh, baby, I'm getting all of it, especially because, oh, girl, I call the adjuster, oh, girl, because she done pissed me off, honey. Now, I don't talk to her like that on the phone. I got sense enough not to. But I hang up that phone, baby, and I talk bad about him. And oh, girl, they have a policy. So a lot of people don't know this. Lyft has a policy where they have something called MedPay. So off bat, they can give you up to $15,000 just because you're injured. So that's how come they were willing. And they were only going to give him $1,000. So I said, run me that 15 right now. And she was like, oh, well, I mean, we need to do, she said, we need to examine him. Baby, you're not examining nothing because you already told him you were gonna pay his medical bill, which was $14 at the time, and give him $1,000. So we just got your money. I'm not about to play with you. Oh, she playing with me? I sure did file a complaint with the state insurance board. You think because I'm a lawyer, I'm not gonna file a complaint? I did, and I got my money.
Man, I like this stuff. Man, I'm gonna go slip and fall right after the show.
I've been looking
I saved my money, but it was a client's money because I gave it to him because he was out of work for 6 weeks walking around like
I've been looking at our employees right now, letting them know that if y'all get hurt in here, we just might have to finish you. You ain't getting nothing from us.
You ain't gonna make it out of here, folks.
You ain't gonna make it. So, all right. So,
wait a minute. Hold on. Talking about you, sir, do you have your defamation insurance in place?
Of course I don't. What you mean? Why would I have defamation insurance?
All right, Tasha K.
I know, right?
You cannot be an influencer in this generation without having defamation insurance.
We definitely don't have
So
that.
you got to get that. So you get commercial insurance. Here's a tip, y'all. Ooh, y'all ready? Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Any homeowner's policy or renter's policy, you can add defamation to it. It's the extra. It might be extra $7 to $10 a month.
Oh,
if it's a commercial policy, $20
so
a
I
month.
can add it on this policy.
Yes.
Okay.
Because here's the thing that you didn't know. That is how Monica Lewinsky got $1 million from the Clintons. So a lot of people don't realize what she did is their homeowner's insurance policy. They had a homeowner's, even though he was living in the White House, he had a policy and then he had what's called an umbrella. So defamation, some policies at standard. I have a Liberty Mutual homeowner's policy where defamation insurance comes with it. But in most, you get an umbrella policy, which is a few more per month. And in the Monica Lewinsky situation, it was proven that he lied on her when he said they didn't do anything. So that's defamation. Yeah. She then was able to, I don't know that she even filed the lawsuit in court because her attorney would be able to simply write a demand letter to his write a demand letter to him. He turns it over to his insurance. The insurance cut that $1 million check. And Monica Lewinsky got $1 million after screwing the president and sucking his little pee off for defamation.
And Monica,
I mean, talk about a hard-earned prostitute.
That wasn't hard earned, really.
No,
I mean,
it probably wasn't.
In the White House, that's the greatest place to do it.
It probably ain't last that long.
Nah,
it wasn't but a minute or two.
Well, you're defaming him now.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Say allegedly.
I'm sorry, Mr. Clinton.
Allegedly.
Thank
you. All right. So, Brian, back to you. This is a question that I want to throw a curveball at. When do you turn someone away? Symone kind of talked about her process. People might start reaching out to you. What's a no for you? What is a no for you?
So the number one thing for us is just if you start disrespecting the staff and you start creating problems for the staff. I mean, it's one of those things where if you don't protect your own people from being abused or harassed, you know, how are you going to think that a jury's not going to see that?
What does that look like for you when someone's disrespecting your team? What's that look like?
Yeah, I want to know.
I mean, there's two parts you got to remember. Because
you ain't the type of guy that get disrespected. Yeah, like, you know, wait, so.
Everybody is a big man or woman on the telephone.
Okay, for sure. Yeah,
so all the time we have people that'll call and kind of take out the staff, but then they get on the phone with the attorney and then they're just the nicest person ever.
Okay.
And my problem with it is when they start cussing at them, I mean, we've had them even, you know, basically calling them bees and yelling at them and telling them, you know, you're liars and you're doing this. And none of it is called for. But what we do know is if they're doing that to the staff, that personality is going to come across into the jury. It's going to, you know, to build your case, you've got to have other people that are going to say this person's worthy of the financial gain or the benefit. And if you've got nobody who can say a positive thing about that person, you're going to get a low or a no result.
Yep.
And so we really look at it from, hey, is this person someone who is a good person when they, you know, because they're hurt, they're going through things, but are they somebody who's going to take it out on everybody else? Because litigation takes a long time. It could be a year, it could be a year and a half, and that person's only going to get worse and, you know, angrier and more frustrated. So if that happens within the initial couple months, I mean, that's kind of a deal breaker for us. We'll say, hey, you know, we're not going to hold our fee from you. Go ahead and take all this stuff with you. Good luck to you.
Now, let me throw another curveball at you, Brian. Now, if this case is worth it, will you put up with?
So most new attorneys, they'll come into that situation and they'll say, I don't want to lose this case. Mm-hmm. But that person who is causing all these problems, they will, at the very end, if you do stick with them, will do whatever they can to screw you over.
Dang.
Oh, great point.
Really?
Okay. Now,
but what's their incentive to do that? Like
they're jerks.
They've already, so if they've settled the case, sometimes they'll turn around and make a bar complaint.
Oh,
or they'll turn around and they'll say, you didn't do anything in my case.
Yep.
Or they'll look back and they'll say, you didn't call me enough, or you didn't do this enough. And the reality is that one person is probably 80% of the calls.
Yeah.
Because they're just calling constantly, and they think, hey, if I force you to do what you can't do, which is make the case or the court get to your case faster, then they're just going to make my staff's life miserable.
Yeah.
And miserable people, create miserable situations for us.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And at the end of the day, like we always try to set reasonable expectations in the beginning. I always ask a client, what would success look like to you? And that helps me decide if I could take your case or not. Because if you have, let's say you have like a minor slip and fall. If you're like, but they disrespected me and I don't want anything less than $1 million. Okay, I'm going to have to tell you, I don't think that I'm going to be the right fit for you. But if you tell me, well, I don't know what would be reasonable, and then I break down to you, based on your injuries, based on these facts, I think this would be reasonable. If you say you're okay with that number, then later down the line, when I get you that number or above that, it was this one lady literally I was like, okay, I think I can get you this number. And then she was like, well, actually, I was talking with my boyfriend and he thinks well, have your boyfriend represent you.
Yeah.
Is what I'm thinking. I didn't say it. I'm like, have your boyfriend represent you. But yeah, it's really important. Just like jerks are jerks.
Of course.
And I don't.
Well, let me ask y'all have to have a serious high level of patience.
Baby.
Like, does that interfere with y'all personal lives?
My love license shambles. You all know this.
Well, yeah,
we know. Yeah,
we follow you, so we know.
And we know your bride.
Yeah,
so you have to like long hours at work. Where you're not able to be as present.
Right.
Does that take a role or take an account on what you do?
So there's huge impact.
Yeah.
Family events, things like that. I mean, the clients don't have a time where they're saying, hey, you're not available. So they're constantly calling, and we try to put our boundaries in place, get back to them within the 24-hour time period. But truly, most of my clients have my cell phone number. They text or call me constantly. And our biggest thing is, hey, we'll get back to you, but don't assume that when I'm jumping through hoops for a case or coming up on trial that I'm not going to put that same effort when your case is coming to trial. We've got to have that boundary of understanding. If I'm in a trial for this other case, don't try to say my case is worth more or of your time than the person who's going to trial.
Well, also it's really important that you understand when you're hiring a lawyer that so me and you may have a one-on-one and you sign the contract and we start. We use Teams. So when you call, don't expect to speak to us on the phone every time. It doesn't mean we're not prioritizing your case and you're not important. But the truth of the matter is the day-to-day stuff is dealt with by our case managers, by our staff. So a lot of the day-to-day stuff that people call and have questions about is better answered by someone else on the team, not us. So you may not hear from us, from Symone. And that's also why too, like DMs are probably not the best way to reach me. The best way to reach us would be like getting on my calendar, calling the office and going through those routes. Because I appreciate the DMs at attorney Symone Redwine on Instagram. But, and please don't, DMs are like, slide in my DMs to date me. Slide in my DMs if you have
your DMs are to date. I'm sure.
Yeah, today. Yeah. Or if you have like a situation maybe you want me to address on my page, that's one thing. But like, if you have like an urgent legal matter, definitely call 855-4-SYMONE.
I just want to hit one aspect of it is when you've got a team that knows what they're doing and they're professionals, I mean, they know how to do everything but be able to be the attorney to sign the document.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's so many times where a client has said, no, I want to talk just to Brian. And then I get on the phone with them and they're asking me a question that my team can answer 10 times over with no problems. But they want to, they think that person is not a professional. If they weren't a professional, we wouldn't have them working for us.
I can attest to that because my one of my brothers had legal situations and we wanted to talk to the lawyer. You know what I mean? I guess it's a sense of more comfort by talking directly to you, but the way you're breaking it down, you hired these people for a reason. Like they're going to definitely know exactly what needs to be said and how to. I think the people feel like less than if they don't talk to you. Like you're not taking it as seriously. It's not that important on your whatever your hierarchy. But yeah, I mean, I've been there before for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I think we all feel, you know, when a client goes through that, they're feeling, hey, I'm not heard, and so I need you to talk with me.
Yeah,
and totally got it.
Yeah,
and they set an appointment, and we'll talk with them. I'll talk with them.
Yeah,
but when it's really, I need an answer, don't avoid the fact saying, well, what would you like to talk to Brian about?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times I'm not going to tell you. I want to just tell him. Mm-hmm. And if they would just highlight what they needed.
So they try to treat it like a priest. Therapist.
Like a priest.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah.
And I will tell you that there's times where we are almost therapists. Where you're walking through the problems and the frustrations with the clients constantly. I mean, we've had cases where, the injury results in the marriage in shambles, or they've got their baby mama or their baby daddy who, now is keeping the kid away from them because they don't have a job anymore. They're not able to work. It comes from all different angles. Yeah. And then you got their family members calling you, and they're like, hey, I gave this person, an advance or a loan. Can you pay me back? And
what?
This isn't a negotiation here.
Yeah.
I've got my piece that I'm playing here.
Yeah.
And I can do what I can do.
Oh, wow.
But we constantly have more conversations about life with our clients that aren't related to the case almost every time.
Y'all deal with a lot.
A lot, yeah. So one last thing before we get out of here. We want to bring in a topic. Should Snoop take $100 million to get on OnlyFans? I'm taking it. I'm just letting you know right now.
Taking.
You
I
can
don't give a
put
damn
me
what
on
they
OnlyFans for free. You know what I'm saying? I'm building up Nasty Nate as we speak. But if you can give me $100 million, I might build it up a little faster.
So they offered Snoop $100 million. He turned it down. He said he has a black wife and she's not having it. And all they wanted him to do was pull it out. I say I would have pulled it out, twirled
on
it.
the Poor Horseman.
Hey, listen, whatever you want me to do, folks.
What do y'all think about an arrangement like that? Would y'all take $100 million?
Symone.
Hell yeah. I want a dick just so I can do it. I'm taking somebody else's dick if I have to. I'll do it with y'all's. Phil, you're married. Phil, give me your dick. Please. Please. I'll give you some money. Yes. You can,
Brian, are you going to be on OnlyFans for $100 million?
And here's the thing. If this was my husband, because I'm going to be a black wife one day. And if this was my husband, I said, husband, show everybody your dick, okay? We're going to show them your dick. And then we're going to go on Oprah. And we're going to do a little tour. And I'm going to tell everyone we're showing the dick for $1 million. $100 million. I think that's reasonable. I think it's very reasonable. He showed it to much lesser women.
Yeah.
Selena Powell. Ew.
That's true.
Allegedly.
That's true.
Allegedly. Yes.
Uh-huh.
That is her claim.
Yeah.
Is that she was one of his mistresses.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's not the most selective man. So I think we should all see his dick for $100 million. It's okay, Mrs. Snoop. No one will judge you. We already know what you've been through.
Brian, $100 million. What you doing?
Yeah, yours is coming from a different perspective.
You know what I'm saying?
I can absolutely say that my wife would tell me, are you not concerned with being able to provide a future for our family? And she would say, just make sure that contract is there and the check is good.
I mess with her.
I believe that too. I believe that too.
I believe it. I believe it. Nah,
this has been our first episode of CYA. Call your attorney. Yeah. We will be back again. We appreciate y'all joining us.
Real.
This is fun. They gave y'all some real information, y'all. We gonna stump them on a case soon, though.
Hey.
We definitely will, because I'm gonna be looking now.
Yeah.
Now that I know they got all this information, I want to trip them up. Yeah. I do. I want to come up with something.
I got people with cases all through the hood.
We can go to the hood. we can go with a case. So
I got people.
This is, please tell the people again where they can find both of you, how they can get in touch with you if they're interested in your services. Brian,
all right,
of course.
So me, the easiest one, you can look me up on Crockett.law. We also have the Bank on Brian TX on Instagram. But ultimately, you type in Brian Crockett, there's only me and then what did he play? Lacrosse player that died years ago.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
Other than that, you'll find me.
And you'll always see him on the Poor Horseman.
For sure.
in our description as well as on our hoodies.
Yeah.
There's a QR code on the back. So you know that. Symone,
Yep.
please.
And I'm attorney Symone Redwine. Like the drink, you can find me on Instagram at attorney Symone Redwine, Symone with a Y. You can also call 855-4-SYMONE with a Y if you want to reach me to get to my office, and redwinelaw.com.
And I encourage y'all to go to her YouTube also. She does this thing called Girl, Is That Legal?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's the wildest ride I've ever been on.
Yeah. I've checked
Because
it out.
I don't understand how some of this stuff really be happening to people, but it do.
Yes, I do. I'm going to ramp those back up this year.
Yes, we are.
But it's background checks. So you can write in if there's anybody out there you'd like a background check on. Write into the show. If I select you, you get to come on the show. You can be anonymous, and I let you know in real time what I found on this person's background check. Okay, so I've found assets, hidden assets from baby daddies. I found hidden crimes from men who were trying to, what they call them, hobosexuals. From a man that was trying to move in with this woman, and he had all these crimes in his background and
You
stuff.
said hobosexual?
Hobosexuals.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
That's where you like a hobo and then you have sex with a woman.
I got you.
Yeah, there you go.
But look, go.
No.
You finished?
I'm done.
Symone, I want to thank you. This is our first time having you back on camera for your piece that you did with us.
Oh, no, you turned us up.
You turned us all the way up. It was fantastic. Like, we were texting. Remember we were texting? And he was like, I think we got some. Y'all see how much? And we were just keeping up with how many views and stuff, and it went crazy. And it was like, man, that was a great interview.
Yeah, it was
really
a post on me breaking down the Cassie versus Diddy lawsuit. Yes, and across all platforms, my team's informed me that it got over 70 million views.
Yeah. We thought it was close to 100.
Yeah.
I think so now.
Yeah, we thought it was close to 100.
Uh-huh.
So, and New York News and other places that had Symone, we valuable brothers too. What happened? Y'all, look at I mean, he looked like he worked at a fisherman's wharf. I look like I just came from Walmart. Why y'all
talk
put us
bad
on?
about us
They
too,
definitely
didn't
they called Phil dumb. They said that I was zesty. I ain't never been zesty a day in my life.
I got all kind of stuff.
Right,
Yeah,
they called
same,
me
same.
incompetent, man. I'm sitting there trying to listen to Symone.
man.
I was amazed by what she was saying because I didn't know all that information. They called me dumb. I couldn't follow up what she was saying.
So y'all lock in with us.
I want to just make sure that just as a future idea here for you, if you could reach out to Symone on her generosity, you might want to maybe do some background checks on the interns. So whenever you guys go to the games,
See, we already know. Yeah,
I don't get the phone call saying, "Hey, you gave tickets to somebody who came up with a knife."
Our guy right now is banned from the Rockets Arena. He knows why. Like, he is not allowed back in the Rockets Arena. He brought a whole
Swiss Army knife
to the game. Like, I should.
Well, no, I would have done that. I don't know.
But we didn't have to. We didn't have to do it.
It's Swiss, and I was a Girl Scout.
Let me stop real quick before we end this. We didn't need to do a background check because he's from Dallas.
Yeah.
So we already knew that he was a criminal. We just thought we was giving him a chance.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that he was gonna come to the game with a knife. That was crazy.
Yeah, man, it's all good.
Did they let you in after they took it?
He had to go back to the car with it.
Oh, well, that's reasonable.
Did you actually ask him? Could they hold it for you?
Yes. Isn't that insane? Man, look, that's the episode of Call Your Attorney. One of our employees needs to call the attorneys right now, too.
definitely.
We out.
Yeah, man.